Welcome in, everybody. This is Matrix Inc. We're here for another episode of Ship Talk. Today we're going to be doing a little bit different. We're just going to be talking about 2026. We're looking into 2026, what could possibly be coming. We're going to go over what happened last year, what dropped, what's still in concept, and maybe take some guesses of like what's going to come in 2026. And maybe we can look back on this a year from now and kind of laugh at ourselves. So this is going to be one I want you guys to comment in the section down below, and some of my favorite I'll pin the comments and stuff. So should be fun. To start this off, let's look into what happened in 2025. The Argo Atlas Geo in ICTY, the Gray Cat MDC, Gray Cat MTC, Anvil Super Hornet Mark II, Drake Golem, Drake Golem Ox, RSI Salvation, Misk Fortune, Misk Starlancer Tech, Drake Clipper, RSI Meteor, Mirai Guardian MX, Gray's Shiv, Esperia Stinger, Anvil Asgard, RSI Apollo, Esperia Preller Utility, Anvil Paladin, RSI Perseus, and the Aegis Idris. As you can see, guys, that was a very impressive lineup CIG gave us in 2025. It's going to be hard to top that, all right? So we saw 27 ships and ground vehicles enter the verse. I don't know if they can beat it in 2026, not gonna lie to you. I hope they can. There's definitely some surprises that I think they can give us that'll really make 2026 even better than 2025. Let's actually look into what's still in concept according to the website. The RSI Airastra, the RSI Orion, the RSI Zeus Mark II MR, the RSI Galaxy, Aegis Javelin, Aegis Nautilus, Anvil Vulcan, Anvil Crucible, Anvil Legionnaire, Anvil Liberator, Banu Merchantman, Consolidated Outlands Pioneer, Crusader E1 Spirit, Crusader Genesis, Drake Ironclad, Drake Kraken, Gatak Raylan, Misk Endeavor, Misk Expanse, Misk Hole B, Misk Hole D, Misk Hole E, Misk Odyssey, Origin G12 series, Tumbril Ranger series, and the Misk BLD. So as you can see, there's 26, maybe even over 30, if you can include variants of concept ships that are still yet to be released. These are ones that are that we've been able to buy with real money. These are like what they call JPEG cells. Now the only one on that list that was actually you cannot buy is the Starlancer BLD. That one is not one you can actually buy yet, but we do know about it, so I wanted to make sure we added that on there. Now to name off a list here, that's ships that are most likely not going to be coming in 2026 of those that were just listed: the Crucible, the Endeavor, the Genesis, and for sure the Whole D and the Whole E is not going to be released in 2026. The Merchantman and the Orion, those are all doubtful for 2026, especially the Whole D and the Whole E. We do have confirmation on that one, but the others, don't get your hopes up. We know something like the Endeavor is probably going to be one of the last ever concept ships to be finished up. So let's go over things that we do know. So kicking things off, we're going to be going over the hottest subject out there is the sneak peeks they have given us recently of what is believed to be the RSI Hermes. A couple months ago, they gave away this sneak peek here. As you can see, there's not a lot to go off of there. Reading about it online, this is believed to be data for similar to something like the MSR that I'm not sure when that feature is coming to the game. It's essentially going to be a data ship, data mining and running. Now this next one is the latest sneak peek they just gave us this last week, and as you can see, we have the big Gray Cat Industrial logo there right in front of us. Now my original thought when I first saw this was, oh, this is the MFC, the crafting vehicle, the variant to the MDC and the MTC. Turns out that's totally wrong. All right, so as you can see, you have this bay that's very similar to the RSI Apollos, and it's much bigger in space. And if you look closely up here, if you watch my mouse, there's this rail that comes across right up to this Gray Cat, and turns out that's actually a rail for the tractor beam. So it's believed to be that this will actually go all the way outside the ship. This is all guesswork, but if you look here, you actually see where a size 2 tractor beam that's very similar to the what's the picture. So this is believed to be the RSI Hermes, basically the same model as the Apollos, the medevac and the triage. This is believed to be kind of like this cargo and data running ship that's expected to be released soon. So this could be the first ship of 2026. Alrighty guys, so I'm on the monthly report back from October. One thing I didn't state was we have not got the November and the December monthly reports. That usually comes out in January. I've been trying to push this video out before those come out, so we don't have any real hints of like what's been updated, where are they at. Like I said, I want to make this video all about trying to take a guess of like what's coming into 2026. And like I said, I want you guys to let me know in the comments, especially. So starting off, you see this picture of the Aurora sitting inside the Ironclad. That was confirmed. It's sitting inside the Ironclad, and we now know that there's a Mark II variant coming in 2026. So that is one of the ships we'll be getting, is a Mark II variant of the Aurora. It does talk about the Mark I variant of the Aurora being brought up to modern standards along with the Hammerhead. I am excited for that. I'd love to see the Hammerhead be brought up to modern standards. So one thing here, it also talks about the Hull B currently be preparing for white box review. That is confirmed for a 2026 ship, so we know the Hull B is coming. The Hull D and the Hull E is absolutely not. That is not planned, but the Hull B is. What's going to be cool about the Hull B is it's going to be this X variant and not the Plus, and it's going to be able to land on planet, and it actually got quite the boost on cargo as well. So Hull B is going to be one of those that could see a big price increase on the store. Now it does talk about the Drake Ironclads progressing well into gray box. With that being said, it kind of sounds like those will be dropping pretty early on in 2026, but I can see those being like held back for Drake Day. But CIG's been really good about giving us ships that much sooner than expected, much like the RSI Apollos. Last year, I was pretty excited for those to be dropped much sooner than I thought. So maybe they surprised us with the Ironclads being dropped early. Talks about 4 unannounced ships that had progressed through. I think one of them was this Drake Clipper here that was actually dropped during IAE. I think it talks about the Hermes here being ARC complete and passing Loto review. So one ship that is also being worked on, that's been talked about for years, is the Gray Cat UTV. That one's entered its white box phase as of October, and I want to show you guys a cutscene of it from 2022 CitizenCon.
And we also have a third vehicle lined up that we want to do in the future called the UTV.
So before we get into this last part of the monthly report from October, I want to show you guys this one clip from the CitizenCon Direct video that they gave us, and I want to see what you guys say. It's about the tactical group strike missions that are coming in roughly mid 2026, and maybe we can get some guesses here what's going to come for those missions.
Because during all of this, you spend a lot of ammo and munitions and ballistics, and you're going to want to top up.
This is where we're going to get our new feature in. Ship hangar refueling and rearming. You're going to be able to land in the hangar of select ships and be able to use the same interface as you are right now at stations to refuel and rearm.
It's specifically for ships like the Idris and the Polaris and other ships that are designed to have other ships land inside them.
Of course, it'll be more than just those two ships, and you'll find out more once we get closer to release. But this is a really important feature that we're really excited to get at.
So that one little bit there from CitizenCon Direct really has me intrigued for 2026. What are we going to get that's going to be similar to what the Polaris and the Idris can offer in terms of being able to fly into, repair, restock, refuel, and it makes us wonder, right? So from the last monthly report that we've had, it talks about finally for the UK team, pre-production kicked off for the Anvil Liberators. This phase is before official production begins and aims to get a solid base for the wider team to use for further estimation and concept requests to aid in smooth delivery. So this is the first that we've heard about the Liberator actually going into pre-production, and with it being in pre-production, then is it a realistic timetable to have it ready for mid 2026? I want to say it is. All right. I feel like a ship of that size, it can be done. And of course, the white box work continued on the Drake Kraken, with more developers moving into it as the projects were completed. So more people, more developers have been working on the Drake Kraken, and this is back as far as October. So could the Drake Kraken be a surprise for mid 2026? Now, that size of a ship, I am skeptical, maybe even hopeful, but maybe, just maybe, we have those two ships. And remember, Squadron 42 is set to release in 2026. Could the Aegis Javelin maybe be one of those ships that they're talking about? So 3 different ships there. If you have any different ideas of what could be coming for those missions, I'd love to hear it in the comments. So before we get too ahead of ourselves into 2026, one of the biggest things about 2026 that is coming is crafting is widely believed to be coming soon. Some as early are saying as early as March, according to one developer. Now that is subject to change, and things don't always work out that way, but roughly maybe March of 2026, we're going to see some form of crafting, and there's a few different ships that are revolves around that. One being the Grey Cat MFC, the Anvil Auxilia. These are 2 confirmed ships for 2026, and we now know of a Consolidated Outlands Forge. Now this one's going to be much like the Pioneer in terms of like being able to extract from the ground that you land on. It's going to be like this baby brother of the Pioneer. All right, so it is going to be a crafting vehicle. I've got a picture right here. We're going to show you real quick. This is widely believed to be the Consolidated Outlands Forge. Now this is a picture from CitizenCon 2024 when they did the silhouettes, which I kind of miss those silhouettes. I wish they'd bring those back, but with most of our ships coming that are maybe we're running down on so many concept ships, the JPEG cells, and maybe that's not kind of a turnoff for them, but I personally really like the silhouettes. So CIG, if you ever watch this, please bring those back. So for the crafting, like I said, the MFC, the Anvil Auxilia, and the Consolidated Outlands Forge is coming for crafting that we know of. So that leaves us with 2 ships I've not yet named that are still coming in 2026. The big one for IAE 2026, a lot of you guys know, is the RSI Galaxy. That has been confirmed by John Crew. That is for sure coming, IAE 2026. It's about the only ship we actually know in 2026 that actually has some kind of date to it. And the other one will be the Gattac Raylan. All right, so that was one of those that got a really massive boost in cargo. It's going to be getting probably a massive boost in price too, with the price or the cargo increase that it had. We do know for sure that is getting a price increase. That one, I'd probably, if I had to guess, I'd probably think it's going to be somewhere around Alien Week. That'd be probably a good time for them to drop that one. It wouldn't make sense for ILW for that one to be dropped, but if I had to guess, Alien Week would be a good time to drop it. Not saying that it will, but a lot of people are excited for that one. So that one, honestly, I'm not a big Alien guy, but that one, it has me intrigued a lot. So I'm excited for that one. So one website I like to look at is the Star Citizen wiki page for active production ships. And I'm not sure how much I believe all the ships listed here that are in active production. A little skeptical, but I can confirm that there are a few on here that are for sure. It talks about the E1 Spirit, which I would expect that one to drop in 2026. I can see that one. The F8 Lightning, which I'm assuming is the F8A, could come in tandem with the Squadron 42. It talks about a Vandal Harvester, which we really know nothing about that one. The Holby that we talked about, Ironclad models. The Kraken Anvil Legionnaire is said to be in active production. A little skeptical there. It talks about the Liberator. The Pioneer we know has been in active production for a while, but that one's not coming until base building. And base building is not confirmed for 2026. So that's one of those things I think a lot of us are hoping for by the end of the year. Maybe our big surprise by the end of the year, but that would be one to drop if it does. So the Raptor, which I don't know a lot about that one yet. We do have a picture of it in the active recruits for Star Citizen that talks about the Raylan, the UTV that we talked about, and the last one, last but not least, the Zeus MK2 MR, the Mark II. That's the interdiction Zeus. That one I'm shocked it's not come out yet. So along with E1 Spirit, I can see that one dropping. So pretty excited for those. Now, CIG did give us a bunch of hints during the ship talk video from Thanksgiving Day. They gave us a list of manufacturers that will have a ship dropping in 2026. To go off the list here, we have Drake, Aegis, RSI, Anvil, Misk, Greycat, Origin, Kruger, Gattac, Gray's Market, and Consolidated Outlands. Of that list that we're not exactly sure of like what falls into that category of like what it could be. If we include the Aegis here, we're not sure if the Javelin's dropping. It could be something else that's Aegis. The Origin, I'm assuming that could also be the G12 series ground vehicles. Maybe it's finally time for those. We do know a new Kruger variant's coming, much like the Wolves. I think we're going to see something very similar in terms of maybe even styling. Not that they're going to be a variant of it, but maybe have different variants of that one ship. And then the Gray's Market, which I'm really intrigued about because the Gray's Shiv really was one of those that surprised me in terms of I didn't like it at first, but once I actually flew it, I really came to like it. So a lot of cool stuff. Hopefully I gave you guys a little bit of things to go on, like wrap your mind around. Maybe you don't agree with me on certain things, especially when it comes to the TAC strike missions and whatnot. I think that's where I'm really, really intrigued by. I'm very excited for. Can't wait till that comes out. I know we're gonna have to do a lot of org things for that mission, so very, very exciting stuff. Let me know, guys, in the comments what you think is gonna be coming in 2026. What's gonna be that surprise ship that maybe we didn't see coming that CIG's not told us about yet. So they probably got a few tricks up their sleeves. So also, maybe, we keep talking about concept ships, but maybe there's a ship coming that nobody knows anything about, that maybe there's a certain manufacturer that's going to come out and give us something totally off the wall that we've never expected. And if they do, or maybe you're wishing or something, let me know if there's a certain ship that you'd love to see by a certain manufacturer. I know I'm a big Drake guy, so I'm always pushing for more Drake ships. So anything Drake dropping in 2026, I'm going to be a happy guy. So I want to say, guys, thank you all for watching. I appreciate y'all, and until next time.